Good morning. I went to school with her. So this morning, very briefly, I'm going to talk about loss. Did do a video last week, but my mic appears to not work, so I've adjusted the mic position. Let's see. We'll certainly give this a go. So I was at a funeral on Friday, hence the reason why the topic that I spoke about was loss. In a nutshell, outlining some of the things that you can do if there is a need to combat. And I'm not talking about loss as in you've lost something, I'm talking about the feeling and associations with all sorts of different kinds of emotional loss. For example, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a relationship, and the list goes on. One of the key things I always recommend to people to do is to set an end date. And the reason being is grieving and the emotions that you'll feel usually will manifest and stack over a period of time on top of each other. And there's a danger in that, and the danger is they become more than they need to be. And it's important, firstly, to accept your emotions. So if there is a sense of sadness, embrace it, embrace the sadness, embrace the emotional experience, and acknowledge it. But set an end date of which mourning of the loss will end. And what that does is it effectively shoehorns the need to deal with your emotions, because it's very easy to suppress them to the point where you believe that they are no longer there, but actually when suppressing emotions, I really like those VWs, I've got to get me one. When suppressing emotions, they have a habit of raising their ugly head at a time and or at a point of where you least expect it, or want them to occur, and they can be really tricky. And the failure to address your emotions and set an end date, and there is no guidance on that end date, by the way, so it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year, it could be 10 years. By planting that seed of closure does give yourself a kind of guidance system where you can address those issues, find resolution, find replacement. Yeah, so loss, setting the end date enables you to, I guess, create an internal strategy to address and deal with it. Oh. Come on, people. These these crossings are renowned for taking forever. Yeah, so by setting an end date enables you to come up with those strategies at a subconscious level. And of course, suppressing the emotion is the last thing that you want to be doing, because it will raise its ugly head at some stage. And there is help available, and that's one thing that I'd recommend to everyone. I'm not talking about necessarily booking in with a course of mental health appointments over a period of time to reinforce the issues, because that in itself can be a struggle at times and actually be counterproductive to any kind of closure. It drags it on, you revisit time and time again the issues that you hope to avoid. But I'm talking about verbalizing any emotional pain, struggles or suffering. Also, there's no hierarchy in terms of or comparable structure to loss. Just because you feel loss of a parent to the power of 10 doesn't mean that everyone else will as well. So there's no universal rule or tool to loss. So when applying any off-the-shelf strategies, it's important just to acknowledge that there is not one tool to fit all, and that's okay. It's Donald Trump's brother. Alright, off we trot. Clear, clear. So continuing from the earlier mentions, yeah, you go whoop, on loss. As I said, it's fundamentally key that you, oh look, there's smokage with no one there, burning through power, energy with no purpose. Clear, clear, clear. Yeah, so there's no universal gauge on loss. It's one of those things that sadly everyone's going to have to deal with at some stage. There's no rule book, there's no my loss is greater than your loss. There is a level of acceptance, and also there is a real need to embrace it for what it is, because the more you fight it, the more conflict and wars you're going to have to face, and that's not good. That's what you want to avoid at all costs.